March 2020. A virus shut down the world. Businesses closed. Workers sent home. The economy stopped breathing. In 2 weeks, the stock market lost $11 trillion. 35% gone. The fastest crash in history. And the Federal Reserve did what it always does. It printed money. In March, the Fed created $1 trillion. In April, another trillion. In May, another trillion. $3 trillion in 3 months. That is more money than was created in the first 200 years of American history, combined. In 2008, a $700 billion bailout was a scandal. In 2020, $3 trillion was Tuesday. This is not about COVID. This is about a system that cannot survive without more money. Always more. The Federal Reserve was not always a money printer. For most of its history, it had one job: control interest rates. When the economy grew too fast, raise rates. When it slowed down, lower rates. Simple. But in 2008, something changed. The financial system collapsed, and lowering interest rates to zero was not enough. Fed Chairman Ben Bernanke introduced a new tool: quantitative easing, QE. The Fed would create digital money and use it to buy government bonds and mortgage securities. This was supposed to be emergency medicine, temporary, a one-time intervention. It never stopped. 2008, the Fed bought $1.7 trillion in assets. 2010 ended QE. 2011 started QE2, another $600 billion. 2012, QE3, $1.6 trillion more. By 2014, the Fed's balance sheet had grown from $800 billion to $4.5 trillion, 5 times larger. And even then, they could not stop. In 2019, before COVID, the Fed tried to shrink its balance sheet. The market panicked. Interest rates spiked. Banks ran out of cash. The system started to freeze. So the Fed started printing again. Then COVID hit, and the money printer went into overdrive. By 2021, the Fed's balance sheet reached $9 trillion, from $800 billion in 2008 to $9 trillion in 2021, an 1,100% increase in 13 years. This was not a crisis response anymore. This was the new normal. Most people think money printing means literal printing, paper bills rolling off presses. It does not. Modern money printing is digital. Here's how it actually works. The U.S. Treasury needs to borrow money, so it issues Treasury bonds. Normally, investors buy these bonds: pension funds, foreign governments, wealthy individuals. But when there aren't enough buyers, or when the government needs a lot of money very quickly, the Federal Reserve steps in. The Fed creates digital dollars out of nothing, with a keystroke. Literally, it types numbers into a computer, and those numbers become money. The Fed then uses this newly created money to buy Treasury bonds. The Treasury gets cash to spend. The Fed gets bonds, and the money supply increases. This is called monetizing the debt, turning government debt into money. But here's the trick. That money does not stay at the Fed. It flows into the banking system. Banks hold it as reserves, and under fractional reserve banking, those reserves can be lent out many times over. If the Fed creates $1 trillion, the banking system can create $10 trillion in loans. This is the money multiplier effect. And this is how $3 trillion from the Fed can turn into $30 trillion in the economy. So when people say the Fed printed money, what they mean is the Fed created digital reserves that multiplied throughout the system, increasing the money supply exponentially. And once you start, You cannot stop. Here's the problem. The modern economy is built on debt. The U.S. government owes $36 trillion. Corporations owe $18 trillion. Households owe $17 trillion. Students owe $1.7 trillion. Total debt in the United States alone, over $70 trillion. Globally, total debt over $300 trillion. This debt requires one thing to survive: growth. Because debt is a promise to pay in the future. If the economy grows, debt is manageable. If the economy shrinks, debt becomes unpayable. And when debt cannot be paid, defaults cascade. Banks fail. The system collapses. So the economy must grow, always. But growth requires money. More economic activity needs more currency in circulation. If the money supply stays flat, but the economy needs to grow, deflation happens. Prices fall. Profits disappear. Businesses close. Unemployment rises. Debt becomes impossible to service. So central banks print money. Not to be generous, not to help people, but because the system demands it. The debt creates the need for growth. Growth requires more money. More money enables more debt. More debt requires more growth. It's a trap. And the only way to keep it going is to print more. This is why they cannot stop. Because stopping means collapse. But here's the darker truth. Money printing has diminishing returns. Like any addiction, each dose has less effect and requires a bigger dose next time. In 2008, the Fed printed $1.7 trillion, and it stabilized the economy. In 2020, the Fed printed $3 trillion, and the effect was smaller. By 2021, the total reached $9 trillion, and inflation exploded. 9%, the highest in 40 years. Because eventually, the printed money stops creating growth and starts creating inflation. When you print money without producing more goods, you get more money chasing the same products. More dollars, same stuff. Result? Higher prices. But inflation doesn't hit evenly. The newly printed money enters the economy at the top. It goes to banks, then to Wall Street, then to corporations, then to asset holders. Stock prices soar. Real estate skyrockets. Art, wine, classic cars, everything the wealthy own goes up. But wages? Do not. S&P 500 plus 300% since 2008. Median wage plus 22%. The wealth gap explodes because money printing benefits those closest to the money. And by the time the money reaches ordinary people, prices have already risen. This is the cycle. Print money, assets inflate, wealth concentrates, then consumer prices catch up. People suffer. So the central bank has a choice. Stop printing and let the debt collapse, or keep printing and let inflation run. They always choose the same door. Print more. So who benefits from money printing? And who pays the price? Winners. Asset holders. If you own stocks, real estate, businesses, money printing makes you richer because asset prices rise faster than inflation. Borrowers. If you have debt at fixed interest rates, inflation erodes the real value of what you owe. Borrow $1 million today. Inflation runs at 5% per year. In 20 years, you still owe $1 million, but its real value is half. Banking institutions. Banks create money through lending. When the Fed prints, banks get cheap money to lend. They profit on the spread. Governments. The biggest borrower of all. $36 trillion in debt. Inflation quietly erases the real burden. Losers. Savers. If you save money in a bank, your interest is 0, but inflation is 5%. You lose 5% per year. Your savings slowly vanish. Workers. Wages don't rise as fast as prices. In 2021, wages rose 4%. Inflation was 9%. Real wages fell 5%. Retirees, living on fixed incomes, pensions, Social Security. As prices rise, their purchasing power falls. The poor, no assets, no stocks, no real estate, just cash, which loses value every day. So money printing is not neutral, it's a transfer, from savers to borrowers, from workers
to asset holders, from the poor to the rich. And the longer it continues, the wider the gap becomes. This is not the first time a country has tried endless money printing. History is full of examples. Weimar Germany. After World War I, Germany owed massive reparations. The government could not pay, so it printed money. By 1923, it took 4 trillion marks to buy $1. A loaf of bread cost billions. People burned money for heat because it was cheaper than buying wood. Zimbabwe, 2008. The government printed to pay its bills. Inflation reached 89 sextillion% per month. They printed $100 trillion bills worth about 40 US cents. Venezuela, once the richest country in South America, oil reserves, natural resources, but the government printed money to fund spending. By 2018, inflation exceeded 1 million%. The currency became worthless. People left the country by the millions. The pattern is always the same. Government spends more than it earns, borrows to cover the gap. Debt becomes unsustainable, prints money to pay the debt. Inflation destroys the currency. And the United States is not exempt. The only difference is that the dollar is the global reserve currency, so the world absorbs the inflation. But that advantage is fading. Countries are moving away from the dollar. And when that ends, America will face the same choice every other country has faced. Stop printing and collapse under debt, or keep printing and destroy the currency. There is no third option. So, can central banks print money forever? The answer is no. But the question is, how does it end? There are 3 possible outcomes. Hyperinflation. The government keeps printing. Prices keep rising. At some point, people lose faith in the currency. They spend it as fast as possible, because tomorrow it will be worth less. This accelerates inflation, which forces more printing, which causes more inflation. A death spiral, until the currency becomes worthless, and the system resets. Debt crisis. The government stops printing. Interest rates rise. Debt payments become impossible. The government defaults. Bonds collapse. Banks fail. Pensions evaporate. A deflationary crash, worse than the Great Depression. Controlled reset. The government declares a reset. Old currency exchanged for new. Debts partially forgiven. A painful but managed transition. Which will happen? Nobody knows. But one thing is certain. The printing cannot continue indefinitely, because every system has limits, and we are approaching ours.
Money printer, but slowing, struggling. March 2020. The Fed printed $3 trillion in 3 months. It was not a mistake. It was not corruption. It was the system, working exactly as designed. Because the modern economy is not based on production. It is based on debt. And debt requires growth. And growth requires money. So they print and print and print. Until one day, like Weimar, like Zimbabwe, like Venezuela, it stops working. The question is not, why do central banks print money? The question is, what happens when they finally can't?